All right, Zach. So we got a new UA this week. I don't have any crazy topics to open us up with other than finished out Shadowheart storyline in Baldur's Gate 3 last night, and it was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, I still haven't, and it's crazy because I feel like I've explored most of the city of Baldur's Gate in Baldur's Gate 3, but I still haven't seen any of Shadowheart's stuff in Act 3.
You have to talk to one NPC and then it'll trigger it. The crazy thing is I have been an absolute. I treat this like an RPG. I do not treat this like D&D anymore, except for the roleplay stuff. As in, if I am okay, today I'm feeling I want to go on Gale's mission, and I don't really know where to start, I will go on Google and I will type in where to find. I'll type in this mission, the name of the mission, and then I'll look until the point that I'm at and be like, okay, what do I do? Because I've always been the person with RPGs where I'm not gonna wait around for the answer to my question, or I'm not gonna walk around Baldur's Gate for 3 hours looking for an NPC. I'm gonna look it up, find out where it is, and go to it so I can experience it.
Yeah, for sure. And so I'm almost to that point. I just got past, and I guess we can warning right out of the gate that we might cover some light Baldur's Gate 3 spoilers.
Nothing crazy
more
that most
towards the
people
end
know
game.
already.
Yeah, but if that's not your fancy, you've been warned. But anyway, I just dealt with. Well, I got the both Netherstones, so I guess I can probably.
Oh yeah, I have not done that.
Beeline it toward the end game. I really wanted to make sure that there was a particular character who was in peril, so I wanted to make sure I dealt with that, and I didn't fuck up like last time.
Now, my particular character is just waiting for me.
Yeah, I mean, I assume they probably give you enough time, but in Act 2, there was something that was apparently time sensitive that I didn't act on quick enough, and so I don't want to fuck up like that again. So I took care of all of that, and now I still have a bunch of side quests to do before I go and finish the main one, I assume. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm Baldur's, the actual city of Baldur's Gate is immense. Until you start to delve into, at first I was like, oh, this won't be too bad, and then I played for 5 hours yesterday and finished one quest line, and I was like, okay, cool, now 6 more to go.
Now, tell me, without any specifics being given, there's a particular fiendish character whose story comes to a head in Act 3. Have you done anything with the devil that you meet? Yet?
Not quite. No.
Okay.
I mean, you mean wheeling and dealing with him?
Well, yeah. So there are a couple different ways to go about.
I haven't I haven't actually gone through that mission yet. No.
Okay, well, that's one to look forward to.
No, I did get, though, a very notable Matthew Mercer voiced character recently, and he is now, he will always be by my side.
Nice.
I built him as a solid ranger, and he got a couple of real laughs out of me playing yesterday. It's not often that I'm sitting at my desk, headphones in, and then I actually get a laugh out of a game or something, but he got me 3 or 4 times yesterday.
Yeah, it's just, I definitely get that vibe from him. I still haven't recruited him. Actually, I was playing earlier this morning, and that's literally, I just quick saved in front of him, and I was like, all right, well, don't have any more time to play at the moment, but that's the next thing I'm doing. But yeah, it's just a treat to see Matt Mercer play this sort of, big dumb stupid character. But you can definitely still tell it's him.
God, yeah, he's so funny though. He was having an argument with a character yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I run in, I do my thing, I do thing that I like to do, and then you save me." And the other character was like, "That's not how we're friends. That's not how it's supposed to be." And he goes, "Oh, I know I can trust you. No, don't worry. I still run in and die." But yeah, no, I love the game still. It's awesome. But on another note, I did deal with a pretty crazy situation in my my Eberron game yesterday, I threw a pretty easy encounter at my 4 level 5 characters. They were fighting a 70 health statue that had a sword made of hair and a petrification ability. So I wanted it to be like this really odd, like, enchanted statue that happened because of all the magic stuff, like the wild magic and stuff that's happening in this tower. So this really weird statue, and then they were fighting 2 living spells of magic missile.
Cool.
So they were fighting these. I had hinted at it the whole time when they were going through the dungeon. One player's like really good at Arcana checks and always like uses detect magic and stuff. And so he found like 2 spots where it looked like 5 foot or so squares of magic had been like completely drained from this area, but this whole tower has been glowing this whole time. Like there was like this iridescent light coming off of every surface. And so they're going through and he's like, this is weird how these 2 spaces don't have magic here. And then so they're investigating the tower, looking around. They find one statue and what my fighter knocks over the statue, like destroying it. And I was like, and they were like, so was that like, could we have unpetrified that person? I was like, yeah, but don't worry about it. You know, we'll just keep going. I was like, don't worry about it. We'll keep going. Because it was a real living person that had been petrified. Jeez. And I was hinting at it by them finding a statue on the way that looked like a person running. And so yeah, he walks up to it. He's like, why are you looking at me like that? And knocks it over. Effectively killing the person. And then they go up to the next floor where they find this agent from who was investigating the morning, but they find him as a statue holding the piece of paper they need that is now petrified.
So they definitely got to unpetrify him.
Yeah, so they got to unpetrify this guy because he's the guy they're looking for, and it looks as though he's fleeing. And then the spells erupt as these were like the 2 5-foot squares of magic, as these 2 like magic missile spells come out of nowhere. And then this other statue in the room that's alive comes to life and starts fighting them. Altogether, they're dealing with maybe 130 hit points total between all 3 creatures, and they're 4 level 5 characters. Who, granted, they fought a Froghemoth last time, so they were lower on resources, but this was not going to be too bad, right? I was like,
I mean, it seems doable.
It was super doable. Like, and I'm not playing them as the smartest things. The magic missile spells, like, corner one character and use their recharge abilities, because I gave them, like, these really cool, like, force abilities that blasted through the side of the wall, so now there's a spot in the tower that they can fall out of.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so I had that happen. The players made the save, though they were low on health. They take out the 2 spells. The one statue creature actually does end up pushing a player. Because I had wild magic effects going anytime a creature would cast a spell. So the one of the magic effects on this table that I generated, the max one was time freezes. And so all around them, the players don't see anything, but the enemies for one turn get to just do whatever they want.
Oh, dang.
And so time freezes at the worst possible moment when they roll this. And one of the players finds himself just suspended over open air as he falls the 40 feet out of the tower. And then he was the guy who could heal. And so then the other player got hit a couple of times. He had low health, but the enemy had maybe 30 hit points left. Both the other characters were dead. This guy has 15 AC. They just need like 2 good hits, right, to kill him. That's all they need. Yeah. And so they're right on edge. I told the other guy, I was like, if you sprint up the thing in 3 rounds, you'll make it back up here. And then by the time he made it back up, they had missed about like 8 to 10 attacks on the main creature they're fighting. That creature had knocked everyone down except for the rogue, who was just like cutting action, getting out of the way and firing, getting out of the way, firing. The cleric, he's a paladin. The paladin gets back up to them and gets knocked down because the rogue hides behind him. And then one character got petrified by their petrifying gaze. So now there's 2 petrified people with my fighters petrified, and then the rogue, like, he dashes into another, or he runs into another room, taking the hit from the creature because he had like 20 hit points left, hides and gets 1 solid sneak attack to kill him. But by then, 2 of my players had fully died, like they rolled all their death saves and died. The other player was petrified. The NPC they had made the death save by 1, so he actually had someone to talk to. And then they had to get the statue of their target back to Sharn. So the NPC that's with them was a mage. She cast Tensor's Floating Disc to help carry, and they just trek all the way back to Sharn.
So did they? So they were able to kill the monster at least, and like get everyone's bodies. And
yes,
the
yeah. He
disc?
got the last hit on the monster. He actually rolled a natural 20 and rolled like 40 hit points when the creature had 18 health left.
Cool.
Yeah. So he got a good hit off on him, but that was like. It was crazy because every time I was like, okay, this is going to be the hit that kills him. The player used this cool thing, the chromatic gauntlet that I gave him to get lightning ready, and he goes for 4 attacks on the creature and misses all 4 of them with his action surge. And I was like, I cannot believe that, like, all he had to do was make contact like 1 time, and it never happened. And I'm sitting here thinking, please kill my creature. Please kill my creature. And then, I basically had to take every resource from them as they found a notable cleric back in Sharn. I described like everything, like their whole journey back. I had the guard stop them at the gate, like, why the fuck are you bringing dead bodies in? What are you doing? They like flash like, hey, we're with House Orion. And they trekked their way all the way back up to where they needed to go, and luckily had just enough resources to stop by a jewelry store with an NPC they had met before. Buy enough diamond, and then head over and get someone to actually revive them. But it took like everything they had. And then also they're debilitated for the next few days while they're on an urgent mission.
Yeah, I mean, that sucks, but now they've gotten that TPK experience. Well, I guess it's not a full TPK, right? And you at least let them revive. So all things considered, I feel like they probably they made out of that better than they might have.
Yeah, so I was really conflicted in the time being. I didn't know how to deal with these deaths because I've never like actually party wiped. I have cinematically party wiped, right?
Right.
And my thought was, I was like, okay, well, if the player gets killed, like the last player gets killed before someone actually dies, I could just have them all be petrified and like have some NPCs come save them later on, and then they wake up, weeks in the future. Which would have been cool. Like, okay, you all got petrified, you were all statues in here, and then you wake up weeks in the future to being saved by, like, say, like, Glitchin' 99 or something, right? And some other person.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, so they wake up to that. That would have been cool. That did not happen, and I think it ended up being better than it was because they did go back to Glitch, who was a cleric, and have him cast Raise Dead, but in like the most gruesome way possible, where he uses lightning inside of his hammer to break their sternums and like get them back to life. So they're just like debilitated on the ground.
Yeah, but that makes sense. And you actually mentioned this to me last night. That that's sort of your justification for why Raise Dead gives them that ability score or ability check.
Yeah, in this case
for however many days. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had them drained of like all their spell slots and stuff too. I was like, you guys have no spell slots, you have 1 health each, and you are debilitated, like you are on the ground just like gasping for air, but you're alive.
Yep, time to rest.
Yeah, so all things considered, I do think it went pretty well, and I'm excited to get into more stuff with them. I've always hated in D&D how life and death is like this very easy thing to solve, theoretically, but I do think that this, in the way that this one was accomplished, it was kind of justified on their part, especially the fact that, they're returning and they don't really have any rewards for this except information.
Yeah, well, sometimes it do be that way, and ultimately they'll hopefully take away something from this and be more careful next time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's go ahead and get into our topic today. Hi, my name is Seth Pittman. I'm joined by my best bud, Zachary Carvon. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Last night we just had a great full RP session. So you ran your players through Eberron in the day, and then you ran us through Avernus last night. So full day for you. But I'm doing great. We just had a great session at D&D. I got some Baldur's Gate 3 in. So I'm really hyped up, and more than anything else, I'm actually super excited to talk about this new 1D&D, if we're still calling it that, Unearthed Arcana for the new 2024 Player's Handbook. So the options presented in this book here, or this new Unearthed Arcana, are all the same ones from the Player's Handbook 5 playtest, where they showed us the Barbarian, Fighter, Wizard, Warlock, and Sorcerer, along with Weapon Mastery. And so it's a return to all of that. We'll get into talking about sort of the highlights here, but just generally, I think the direction that they've headed here is really just a huge relief for me. And we can talk about some of the specific changes in a second, but yeah, just generally very excited. Barbarians seem so much fun. All the changes in this UA, I say, are big improvements. There are just one or two things that I'm still not super thrilled about with the new direction that they've taken, but I think overall this is a good direction to be headed for a more final looking version of these classes.
Now, something I want to say on that, of it being like a good direction, is it was just a big step back in my eyes with just good changes. Like reading over the whole just overview of it, we got what's essentially just a rules errata for what we have, like some rules errata on things that needed to be changed. Now, subclasses, I haven't delved into every specific things on the subclasses, but I have heard most of the subclass changes are pretty solid. I did like the Barbarian changes a lot too. I like that. Personally, I like the theme and the name change of the Wildheart, because Totem Barbarian was like meh, but the name Wildheart is cool, and I think it comes with a lot of cool stuff. And a weapon mastery, I'm always going to be a big fan of having weapon abilities for each different kind of weapon adds flavor into the fact that it's not just a damage die and you describing it. It gives you cool new abilities. So I'm really cool with all of that stuff. What's been confusing me, and I think I mentioned it on the Unearthed Arcana like 6 episodes and stuff, is everything very much to me feels like, hey, we just took some stuff you guys like from Tasha's and tossed it in with a couple new rules, and then we changed things that were a little too more powerful. It just feels like D&D, like, I think the meme I've seen online is like D&D 5.1e. For this, because we were getting like some more drastic changes before, like the class spell, or like the big spell list with the primal, the arcane, all of that. And not saying that that's better than what we already have in 5e, because I do like class specific spell lists, but I also like the more general spell lists as well. I'm just like, man, I'm gonna pay $50-$60 for this patch update to 5e instead of like an actual iteration of the game, because they also have been calling it, it feels like the way that they've been marketing it too has kind of stepped back to a 5e a little bit too, where at first it was like 1D&D, this new edition that's backwards compatible, but like that but it's a brand new thing, to now being like, well, yeah, this is kind of like our update.
Yeah, which, that's completely valid. And, speaking truthfully, I also feel like it's probably going to be a high asking price for really, to your point, just a nice little DLC update, right? Where you've got some different options, some more power in the player options. But overall, it still feels like 5e. But I think, generally speaking, I'm not too upset about that. I do think, 5e has been around for almost 10 years at this point, and so it does make sense to sort of bring the core design of 5e sort of realign with the new design sensibilities at Wizards of the Coast, just because, we're going to keep getting new supplements, new adventures and things building on 5e, and if we're still using the 2014 Player's Handbook as the baseline, then you still have to ask all of your friends to also buy Tasha's and buy Xanathar's Guide to keep up. So it's, it's a largely growing list of 10 years of books, essentially, that you have to be in the know about to have the most updated version. So I'm okay with bringing it all back into one book with most of the things that we liked from Tasha's and Xanathar's Guide and centralizing it there. So I think, generally speaking, it's a good move. We'll see if we actually enjoy playing the new version or if we'll stick with 5e because, like we said, we've taken the time to invest in everything that's happened in 5e, and we're big fans of the game as it is. So we'll see if this persuades us. But to your point, a lot of the more drastic changes that we've seen in previous Unearthed Arcana have been toned down here, specifically with the sorcerer and the wizard. A lot of their changes were walked back, especially the wizard's whole modifying spell thing has been removed completely. So now this version of the wizard is more or less the same version of the wizard that we're familiar with in 5e. And honestly, I don't think that's a terrible change. The wizard is already a very powerful
leave
class.
wizard as is. Like, it's good.
Yeah, and people who are playing wizard aren't saying, man, it really sucks that I can't also be a sorcerer and everything else all at the same time. Like, the power level of the wizard is pretty good where it's at.
Yeah.
So there are some nice little quality of life changes to all of the classes, but generally speaking, it seems like the direction has been to tone things back a little bit, except with the fighter, who seems to be getting better and better in each iteration. So anyway, I guess we can start talking about some of the specifics here with the Barbarian, and we'll try not to get into the minutia too much like we have in past episodes. If any of this sounds intriguing to you, Wizards of the Coast has released this Unearthed Arcana for everyone to read on D&D Beyond, so you can go check it out there. But in any case, Barbarian, one of the pretty much the only thing that I wanted to see changed from the previous edition of the Barbarian has not changed, or rather the previous edition that was showed off in the Player's Handbook 5 on Unearthed Arcana, which was their Primal Knowledge, and that's the feature that allows them to, essentially they get advantage on acrobatics, intimidation, perception, stealth, and survival while they're raging, and they can use their strength for that instead of the other ability scores that you typically use. I feel like that makes the Barbarian just really encroach on not only just rogue territory, but rangers and bards, who are all sort of supposed to be the experts, right? That's their niche. But yeah, we don't see that going away, though it did move from second level to third level, so I guess that's fine. But nothing huge there. Let's see. Other changes just to the base class. They have imported the Instinctive Pounce feature from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, which that just allows you to move up to half your speed as a part of the bonus action you use to enter your rage. That's fine. I'm happy to see it here. And then the Brutal Critical. Now this is an interesting change, and I'm interested to know your thoughts or if this matters to you at all. So in the Player's Handbook, the way that Brutal Critical works is you when you roll a crit, you can roll one additional damage die as a part of that critical hit. And so what this means is that for Barbarians who use the Great Axe, you add an extra D12. But for Barbarians who would use either a great sword or any smaller weapon, you're using like a D6 or a D10. And so this one feature is basically the only thing that rewards you for using a great axe as opposed to a great sword, which is typically better in any other context. But here, what they do is they make the brutal critical just add an extra D12 damage when you crit, regardless of what weapon you're using. And so that sort of removes the incentive there to use a great axe, but at the same time, everyone else is no longer are you going to feel like you're an idiot for choosing a great sword and then getting a crit and then only adding an extra d6.
I think that gets to the point of power gaming where I don't give a shit, because that's like 1 to 2 points of damage that may change a lot of times. When it comes to like great, I mean, I know for like our criticals that could be like 6 to 7 points of damage. But I think the D12 is fine. Like just adding the extra D12, because what I was going to suggest was like, yeah, just have it be a baseline thing. But when you're choosing your weapon, I don't think you should be doing it just based on like, oh man, I'm going to be rolling 2d6 instead of a d12. Because the difference between rolling those two is that the minimum you can roll on a d12 is 1. The minimum you can roll on a greatsword is 2. So
right.
The biggest thing you should worry about is, does your character look and sound cool fighting with that instead?
Yeah, well, and that's definitely, in 5e currently, that's really what it comes down to. Because tactically speaking, if you're going to crunch the numbers, using a greatsword is always better until you get brutal critical, and then you could switch over to the great axe if you want the extra damage there. But ultimately, you're gonna always be doing more reliable damage with the greatsword, and so that's still true here. And so they do also introduce weapon mastery, right? So they do have different features on those different weapons. So there's still some decision making there, but in any case, I just feel like this definitely leans a little bit more in the greatsword's favor. But ultimately, I think it's a good decision as well.
Yeah, because I would also hate to see a two-handed barbarian get messed up because they're using a D6 based weapon instead. You know, they get that critical. Right. I feel like that's important to them. So I'm totally
you're not
cool.
going to be proccing that all the time either.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with the D12. I don't think it's a problem by any means.
Yep. And so I think we're kind of in agreement there. Let's see. Other stuff. There are a lot of little changes here and there. Danger sense. They removed the stipulation that you can't be blinded or deafened in order to get your advantage on dex saves. I think that's fine. And in general, in the announcement video where Jeremy Crawford sort of walks through all of these changes, they mentioned that there's sort of this design shift where they're thinking of the barbarian less of like a purely non-magical class, and they're bringing in more magical elements to them. So I think that's part of the reason why they're thinking like, oh, well, if you have danger sense, it should be like spider sense. So now you've got like this preternatural, whatever magic that your rage lets you tap into. You're using that. So
yeah, I like the idea.
In any case,
of letting
I don't think it's a big
theme
change.
It too, because when I always thought about barbarians that had magic involved, that you of course had the wild magic barbarian who would like explode with whatever magical effect would go off, and then you had the storm barbarian, right, which was like Thor, and I always thought was super cool.
Yeah. Well, and so we don't see either of those featured here, which is interesting, but there are more magic elements in the subclasses that they do present. So anyway, I think we can move on to their subclasses, which is sort of what's got me the most excited here. Of course, we have the Berserker returning. It's virtually unchanged from the last time we saw it, except their 14th level Intimidating Presence feature is now a bonus action rather than a full action. No problems with that. I think in general, this version of the Berserker is much better than the previous version, and better than the one in Baldur's Gate 3 as well. I love this Berserker, and I hope we see them in the final player's handbook
absolutely.
Here. But then we've got the Path of the Wild Heart, which is just stealing that name directly from Baldur's Gate 3.
Well, I don't know if you watched the video, but he said that Jeremy Crawford was saying he actually personally helped them design it for Baldur's Gate, and that they kind of planned this together. So I'll give him props on that, because I was like, oh man, they're just capitalizing on Baldur's Gate, and I was like, well, no, apparently like this was in the works.
Yeah, they planned on the name change before.
I like it better.
And so Baldur's Gate 3 was just the unveiling of that. But yeah, and another interesting thing that was touched on in that video is apparently in the 2014 Player's Handbook, when you choose Totem Barbarian, I always was under the impression that when you choose a particular beast, you stick with that beast throughout.
Yeah.
So like, if you choose Bear Totem, then you take the 6th level and 14th level Bear Totem features too.
But apparently you can just change it around.
Yeah, you were always allowed to switch it out, which is wild. I didn't ever realize that.
I was messing with Karlach in Baldur's Gate 3 one time, and it was like, okay, choose another passive. And I was like, wait, it doesn't just give me all of the bear passives? Apparently you can just mess with that as much as you want, which is cool. I still chose all the bear passives. Because I did not want to think about it.
I definitely did the same. Well, and as opposed to in actual D&D, where we don't worry about carry capacity at all, in Baldur's Gate 3, doubling your carry capacity is actually great.
Nah, you just send everything to camp and go get it when you need it.
Yeah, you could do that if you were smart, but I'm not.
The second I get new loot, or if I pick up loot that I know I don't need right then, I just immediately highlight it in the chest and send it to camp.
Yeah, well, and I always do that with my my camp supplies, because you never need those on when you're adventuring, unless you want to sell them, which who the fuck wants to do that? So I always send all the food and stuff to camp, but otherwise I only send things to camp if I'm completely maxed out on what I can carry. But anyway, just getting into the Wildheart Barbarian now, I think there's one change here that a lot of Barbarian players are probably going to be upset about. Personally, I don't have an issue with it. I think it makes the class much more interesting overall, and also the Barbarian as a whole, because in 5e, if you didn't choose Totem Warrior Barbarian and you didn't choose the Bear Totem, then you're just playing suboptimally. Because what it did was give you resistance to all damage types while you're raging, except for Psychic. And that's just the best defensive ability in the game. It makes you almost untouchable. And so they've nerfed it here to where at 3rd level you can choose the Bear Totem, but when you activate your Rage, you only get to choose 2 damage types other than Force or Psychic that you can have resistance to. So what I like about this is it still allows you to be tactical with your decisions here. If you're fighting a blue dragon, obviously you're going to choose Lightning, and then you can choose, Acid or whatever else might be fitting in the moment, but you're still not becoming just the ultimately overpowered barbarian who resists everything and you don't even have to think about it. I think this encourages more tactical play, and then the DM who is going up against that barbarian can still say, all right, well, we do have a wizard capable of casting multiple damage types who can still get around that defense, which seems appropriate. Like, you shouldn't ever have a character that has no weaknesses, right? So I think that's perfectly fine in my mind.
I am a fan of the rule for us. The one thing that I get concerned about is people who are picking up the game and they're like, oh, I have to choose 2 damage types? Well, what are all the damage types? I'm sure it's listed out. It's probably easy for them to understand. But yeah, it's a good change, because then I'm not going to only pick that one. I might pick, the wolf or the eagle or whatever instead.
Well, yeah, and speaking of, those other 2 options have also been buffed pretty significantly. So the eagle is honestly really good now, and it works the same way as a bonus action when you rage and on a bonus action while you're raging. You can take the dash action, but as a part of that now, you also disengage as a part of that same action. So now you can go Eagle Totem and just be the most mobile barbarian running around, and it's basically like you have the mobile feat, and you can dash as a bonus action.
Yeah.
So that's all great. And then the wolf is probably my favorite, and it's secretly been the one that I wish was better. Really, I just wish the bear wasn't so powerful in the original version of the Totem Barbarian, because the wolf is so cool, and it basically gives you pack tactics, right? So in the 2014 Player's Handbook, you could use it to grant advantage on targets within 5 feet of you, and so what they've done is now it extends out to 10 feet. So even if you're not directly next to the target, your friends can still get advantage within 10 feet.
Yeah, you have the barbarian and the paladin going together in your grid.
Yeah, exactly. And so I like having that little aura of the barbarian is now sort of supporting the rest of the group, and they get advantage on all their attacks because they're using reckless, and so extending that out seems really cool, and it makes this a very good option, even though it's not you're not giving yourself resistance to everything, or you're not getting extra damage on your turn. You're definitely increasing the value of your character by assisting the rest of the party. So I love that option.
Yeah, overall I think that it's all good changes, and there's plenty more barbarian options now with these entry subclasses that don't make it feel like just a one-stop shop. All right, I'm immediately picking this barbarian and going in, because I feel like before I was pretty prone to just being like, all right, I'm either gonna just immediately pick Bear Totem, or I'm gonna go with one of the non-player's handbook options if I'm not going Bear Totem.
Right, and that's sort of the way that it's always been, is you go Bear Totem or you choose something that's flavorful and suboptimal.
Yeah, exactly.
And so now I like that all of these options seem sort of around the same level. We can move on from Wild Heart. The higher level features now, they have renamed to different animals, so it doesn't seem like you have to choose the same one each time. So they've reflavored bear into elephant or lion at higher levels, and so on. None of the features there are super noteworthy, though. I will say at 6th level, they're now giving you expertise in certain features rather than giving some of the other more flavorful options they had before. I think that's fine. I don't have a huge issue with that.
Yeah, you just take expertise in thieves' tools, and now you're also a rogue.
Yeah, exactly right. But then at 14th level, and this was an option before as well, they have the new Falcon variant where you can give yourself a fly speed while you're raging. And the stipulation with this before was that you can fly on your turn, but you had to land by the end of your turn. Now you can just fly. I think that's fine. I don't have a huge issue with it.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because apparently, when we first started playing D&D, it sounded to me like flying was the most OP thing in the game. It's not. Being able to fly is not that big a deal to me, and it never has been. To the point where, Chase, when making his Storm Sorcerer, was like, yeah, I'd kind of like the idea of being able to fly a little bit earlier on than 18th level. And I was like, yeah, don't worry, we'll make that happen. And he's been able to fly for I think he's been able to fly since 14th level. Constantly.
Which when we were all getting our boons from Zariel, I think you let him swap out his boon for flight, which I think is perfectly appropriate. And honestly, that's my only issue with this feature coming at 14th level for the Barbarian, is it seems like this is a feature that other classes might appreciate more, and the Barbarian gets it a little bit earlier. So, that's whatever. And in general, you can see the design here is sort of stepping more into that more magical Barbarian, right? Because the previous version, it's like a limited flight. You're sort of just channeling your rage for a second to jump really far.
It's like whirlwind sprint in Skyrim.
yeah, exactly. But now it's dead ass. You're flying. So in any case, I think it's super cool. That's probably the option I would pick if I were playing a Wild Heart Barbarian. But yeah, overall, not a terrible option. The next one they've got is the Path of the World tree, which is totally new. I think they could probably retool this one a little bit more. I don't know if you've read into the options here at all, but it seems sort of like it's filling the same niche as the Path of the Ancestral Guardians, where it's more of a tactical support barbarian role. So at 3rd level, you get a feature that, when you activate your rage, you heal yourself, and then you can also grant temporary hit points to your allies while you're raging.
Okay.
So that's kind of neat. And then at 6th level, you get a feature where you basically pull out the roots of the world tree from the ground or wherever else, and you can use them to either teleport your allies or pull things toward you, which is neat. And so there's this whole concept of the world tree as well, which I'm interested to know if they're going to be bringing that back, because as far as I understand, like the cosmology of D&D has changed over the different editions. And so I believe in 4th edition it was where they had this idea of all of the different planes being connected on this one big tree. Sort of like, Yggdrasil in Norse mythology.
Yeah, exactly.
Or,
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, other mythology that references like a tree of life, right? So it's that idea. I'm curious if that's the direction they're going to be heading, or if we're going to stick with the Great Wheel cosmology that we've had in 5e, and then this is just sort of like another way of looking at it. I'm not sure. But in any case, it seems quite literal. You are pulling roots out of the ground and using them to teleport people. At 10th level, your reach extends by 10 feet because you've got these roots that extend your weapons. That's neat. It seems like that's probably my favorite feature of this. I kind of wish they got that a little bit earlier. Because at 3rd level, just granting your allies temporary hit points and healing doesn't seem like very world tree focused to me. I definitely...
It's like the move Ingrain in Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, basically, right? So I'd kind of like... I'd like this one to move to 3rd level and maybe push everything else down one. But that's just a nitpick. In general, it's a cool feature, though. And then at 14th level... you can travel along the tree, which basically means if you touch a tree, you can use it to teleport to other planes. So as long as you've got a teleportation circle in mind, you can teleport to any of the other planes, like going through the tree and then up the roots through to the different planes and stuff.
It's very cool. So, I just feel like that's the druid's job.
Right. It's also kind of powerful at 14th level. Because, well, correct me if I'm wrong. Let me actually look at the levels. When do other spellcasters
what level is the
get
spell
access
teleport
to
via
plane
plants?
Teleport. Well, this is different. This is like a plane shift.
That's somewhere in there.
I guess. Yeah. You would get a 7th level slot at 13th level.
Losing
so
connection.
I guess that's still appropriate. Let's see. Teleport via plants. No, I'm just curious.
Oh, come on.
It might be named something else. I'm not finding. Or transport via plants. Yeah, that's a 6th level spell. So you could even get that at 11th, I think. Right? That's how the math works.
Don't worry, guys. Just dealing with these technical difficulties.
Well, in any
It'll
case,
be right back.
It's an interesting feature.
I swear.
I don't think that this is serving the barbarian archetype necessarily, but it definitely does fill that support role. Right, so this is a barbarian who's doing more than just fighting. So that's cool to have that flavor at least. And then my absolute favorite subclass that they give us here
I could always sing
is my old favorite
for you while we're
out
here.
of all the versions of the barbarian that we've got in 5e. This is the one that I've played and enjoyed the most, which is Path of the Zealot.
God,
it's virtually unchanged. For a lot of the lower level features, at least, they give a little bonus to Warrior
Wi-Fi
of the
networks.
Gods,
Okay,
so that you get a bonus
here,
from
apparently.
healing that you can use a number of times per long rest, rather than just being able to be rezzed for free. So that's cool. Your Zealous Presence is a bonus action, and you can use it multiple times per long rest. That's cool. But the one big thing that they did change is their Rage Beyond Death. And Seth, I'm not sure if you're super familiar with this feature, but it was one of my favorites. And so basically, this is the option where after you drop to 0, you can keep fighting, essentially. And so you still take damage and fail death saves as normal, but you don't die until your rage ends. So you could basically just take any amount of damage and keep fighting until the end, and then you die instantly, right? And so that was sort of the whole conceit of this, is you still keep going after that. And here they've completely reworked it so that now when you use your Relentless Rage, which is a feature all barbarians get when you drop to 0, it used to be you just drop to 1 hit point. Now they make it so that you regain a number of hit points. And then once you use that, you actually become like this weird ghost. So now you can fly, and when you're hit by an attack roll, you can use your reaction to turn that hit into a mist, into a miss. And so this state that you're in basically only lasts until you either drop to 0 hit points again, or you heal. And so I don't know. This one probably only matters to me, and I'm fine with that. But just generally speaking, I liked the old version better. It seemed more like a barbarian. I'm not sure if we really need you to, because like the fly speed is cool, right? It'd be cool if they could fly, but not only when you're about to die, you know. And so I the one thing I really do like is using a reaction to just cause a hit to miss you. That seems like, you know, you've unlocked my final form, right? I'm pushed to the edge, and now I have to use Ultra Instinct to just keep standing. Like, that's cool. But I really liked the old version. It was probably a little overpowered for sure, but yeah, no, this ain't it for me. But otherwise, I mean, it's still an awesome subclass. I'd definitely still play it, even with this reworked version. But like you were saying, fly speed isn't super special, and you're probably not going to use it to any great effect while you're doing this.
Hey, I'll just
you
play whatever barbarian you want. I'll give you some boots of flying. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, that's the barbarian in a nutshell. The fighter, I guess we can move on to now, if that's all right, because these are really the main two that I've got a lot of thoughts and opinions about. So the fighter had some overall just a couple changes. So they've condensed the weapon mastery features that they had in the previous edition into one. So now I believe it's at 9th level. Yeah, you get Master of Armaments, which allows you to switch all the weapon mastery properties. And let's see. Let me make sure I'm reading it right. When you finish a long rest, you can choose any of the kinds of mastery weapons you're using and replace the mastery property of each with another mastery property. So you can basically mix and match to your heart's content. It's even more lenient than it was before, but you don't get this until 9th level, as opposed to before. I believe it was at 7th level. You first got the ability to swap things around last time. I think that's fine. And really, you shouldn't be able to switch around the weapon mastery on all these different weapons until you're, suitably locked in on fighter, I think.
Yeah.
So that's fine with me. Because otherwise, everyone would be dipping into fighter just to get the ability to use their favorite weapon with their favorite busted weapon mastery thing. So I'm fine with that.
I still think weapon mastery overall is the one big thing I take out of 1D&D so far is like, hell yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, for sure. And so they did remove one single weapon mastery property. I'm not sure if you saw that, but I'm curious if you know what it is or what you think it might be.
It better not be the nicking one.
No, Nick is still the same.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, what they removed is flex. So now, like long swords and warhammers or whatever, you can't get the two-handed property while just holding it in one hand. They've removed that, which I think is
that's
fair.
Fine.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of was removing the tactical thought about it, because any fighter now is just going to use that that weapon with a D10 and a shield in the other hand. So I think that upset the balance a little bit. I'm fine with that being removed.
Yeah, no, that's totally reasonable. Or else, yeah, why wouldn't you just use a long sword with the D10 and then put a shield in your hand? That to me is way more powerful than like a great axe or a great sword for the slight boost in damage.
Yeah, exactly. So
and not even a guaranteed boost in damage, a very slight one.
Yeah. So I definitely prefer leaving that one to rot. But in any case, the other or the only like huge change that they've made to the fighter, at least in their base kit, is they've added this new tactical subset of abilities. So now at 2nd level you get Tactical Mind, which these are both enhancements to your Second Wind. So they're playing around with using Second Wind as like an additional resource that the fighter can use for other things, sort of like a mini sorcery points or like wild shape sort of deal. So at 2nd level, and I think they need to tune this one back a little bit, but the way that it currently works is if you fail an ability check, you can use your Second Wind to add a D10 to the roll. And so that's cool. I like giving fighters more options outside of combat to be relevant. But the way that it works is that you add the D10, and if it doesn't cause that roll to succeed, the second wind isn't expended, which is awesome. But it's like reliable talent there, right?
Yeah.
You can basically just keep using it as many times as you want. And so at second level, the fighter already has basically an enhanced bardic inspiration that they can use whenever they want.
I'm not a fan of that just because the fighter starts out extremely simple. And I like that the fighter starts out extremely simple. I don't like making it a whole lot more complex than it is, because for instance, I'm gonna use Baldur's Gate 3 as an example because it's a good beginner friendly thing. They have 2 abilities by the time you get to level 2 and 3. You get to level 3 and you choose your subclass, but at level 2, they've got 2 abilities: Action Surge and Second Wind, and then everything else is just attack and hit. And that's nice and simple for a first-time player who wants to jump in, being oh yeah, well now think about when to expend your resource of Second Wind for any of these number of things is a lot. And also, yeah, Bardic Inspiration can be used for the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's cool. I like the direction they're headed with this, but I'd probably tone it back a little bit and maybe put it at a higher level. Second level for fighter is probably their best level because that's where they get Action Surge.
Yeah.
So maybe we could put this on, I don't know, 7th level or 6th level or something, and let it get pushed back a little bit because I do like the idea there, but we don't want them to not be relying on the rogue to succeed on ability checks. Why is the rogue there at that point?
Yeah.
Everyone might as well just be a fighter. But in any case, the other feature tied in with this is at 5th level you get Tactical Shift, which is whenever you activate your second wind using a bonus action, you can move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that seems cool. I feel like 5th level is appropriate for that. I'm a big fan. So it's just, you get to reset, you use your bonus action, and you put yourself where you want to be on the battlefield. I like it, and it gives more incentive to actually use second wind, because honestly, I feel like that's probably the least important fighter feature that they currently have in 5e.
Right.
And so getting it back on a short rest doesn't really matter if you're not going to be using it.
Yeah, I don't know why I've always had a slight affinity for second wind, just because it's all right, well, at least if I'm on death's door, I can do something. There's something I can do about it, get a little bit of health back. I've always liked second wind, especially because they don't have a lot of bonus actions at their early levels. I do like this. I like them being able to move half their speed after using it, because it's kind of like the legendary action that a boss might take, where they, the dragon will take their wing attack and then move half their speed. Something like that, and then they just reposition themselves to where they want to be.
And what I like about it is it sort of leans into the fighter being like a master of the battlefield. Honestly, this kind of seems like a battle master maneuver in some ways, but I do like that you can use it as sort of a defensive option. So say, you're on the back foot, you really need to not die, but also I've got to retreat and grab the cleric so that the druid can revive them or some shit.
Right.
That's a good option. So I'm a big fan of it. Other than that, at 13th level they have a new feature called Studied Attacks, which this is like in the anime where you've got two master swordsmen fighting each other, and so you're watching your enemy's movements. And so the way that they flavor it is if you miss an attack roll, the next attack you have against them is made with advantage. So you've studied the ways that they parry or they dodge, and so the next time you hit, you're gonna catch them doing the same thing twice, which is cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
I like that.
That's a fun idea. I'm into it. Overall, it just seems like the fighter got a couple of slight buffs.
Yeah, and so again, I don't mind that the fighter keeps getting improvements. They seem more tantalizing every time they give us a new version of the fighter. But it seems like they're getting really powerful, and so we don't have to go through all of their subclasses. Generally speaking, Battlemaster's still probably the best one, but their shittier features have been improved. That's all I'll say.
Every
you can look through
time
it
I think about Battlemaster or play Battle Master or see a Battle Master, I like it less.
Well, yeah,
because I start getting into the other
so
fighters.
options.
I think the other fighters are a lot of fun flavor-wise. Like, for instance, I'm a big fan of the Jedi fighter, the freaking Samurai fighter. I think they've all got really cool themes to them, while the Battle Master is like the one that everybody looks at immediately and is like, well, I guess I gotta do that one.
Yeah, I mean, Battle Master, it does feel like we've seen enough Battle Masters where it's not exciting anymore.
Yeah.
So I definitely lean that way too. And none of the other fighter subclass options they've given us were my favorites from before, but they're all way cooler now. So besides the Battle Master, they've brought back the champion. I'll just say that. It's still that improved version that we saw in the last Unearthed Arcana that showed them off. They're chef's kiss. I love them. And then they've got Eldritch Knight, which is back. All of their features that I had issues with before have been improved. And now, so when you first get your spell casting at 3rd level, you do have to choose, or you're locked to 2 of your spells have to be either Abjuration or Evocation. But at higher levels, you can just pick whatever you want.
Yeah.
And so that instantly makes them way better as well. And then at 7th level, their War Magic feature was bad. I don't know if you've ever looked at it before, but basically it was if you use your action to cast a cantrip, you can attack as a bonus action.
Oh, yeah.
And that's instantly invalidated at 11th level, where you get extra attack. And so now you never want to use that because you want to use your action to attack. So now they've replaced it so that when you use your action to attack, you can replace one attack with a cantrip. And so
so that's a lot
instantly
better.
Fixes the issue. Yeah. And then at I believe it's 18th
Oh man,
level,
that would make that fighter build so much crazier. Like, okay, I'm gonna do 2 attacks and a booming blade.
Exactly, yeah. And then at 18th level, you can replace 2 of your attacks with a full spell. So it can be whatever you want, a haste or fireball or greater invisibility, like whatever you want, and then you still get your 1 or at 20th level 2 extra attacks.
Imagine
that's
casting darkness on the ground and attacking in the same turn. So like you cast the darkness, then run into it and stab some. Oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm just imagining like you've already cast haste on yourself, and then you can do this again on the next turn, and so you've got your haste attack, you've got your extra attack, and then you're casting fireball all on the same turn.
That sounds like a blast to play.
Awesome. Yeah, so I think Eldritch Knight finally hit the right balance here. We also don't see the Blade Singer, which sort of had something like this, where they could replace one of their attacks with a cantrip. We don't see them return here, so I kind of like leaving that as the Eldritch Knight's thing now.
That makes Eldritch Knight seem like something I actually want to play.
Yeah. So in any case, we'll see if they ruin it. But Eldritch Knight alone, I've been playing one, or I had been, in Sean's little 6-off situation, and they were a lot of fun, but just some of their features don't agree. So it's nice to finally see the Eldritch Knight working as intended in my mind. And then the last one that I saved here is a new subclass that they've built, and I'm of 2 minds about this one. It's called the Brawler.
Yeah, I've
Seth,
seen that
have you
one.
looked at this one at all?
I've seen it a little bit, where it just kind of makes the fighter into a monk, like as good or better, probably even better than a regular monk.
Yeah, so the way that it's focused is, I mean, it's really, they took the Tavern Brawler feat and made it into a subclass. So now you've got this Brawler who's this fighter focused on using unarmed strikes and improvised weapons. So first of all, I love the concept, right?
Like, I'd love to play
you're
one.
The kind of fighter. Yeah, like you're Indiana Jones, or Bane was the example they gave, where you're the kind of person who you just walk into a room unarmed because you can turn anything into a weapon. And so the way that it is flavored is super cool. I almost feel like this is more appropriate for a barbarian, personally, but fighter's fine. And so what they do here is you basically get the unarmed fighting style, from Tasha's at 3rd level. So you get a D6 for your unarmed strikes, and if you don't have anything else in your hands, it can be a D8. And then you also get proficiency with improvised weapons, and you can either have them be one-handed or two-handed. My issue with this feature is they don't give you how much damage these improvised weapons do, which I know that was always on the DM before, but like if you're going to build a whole class around it, just tell me what my damage is, please. Is sort of my thought about it. And then even later, they tell you that your two-handed improvised weapons do a D12 at 15th level. So yeah, maybe they just forgot, but I definitely like some clarification there. And then you can also use weapon mastery on your improvised weapons. So that's really cool too. They give you like a number of features that you can use.
Yeah, this guy picks out like a pitchfork or like a fire stoker and just all of a sudden is like, oh, you want to see me use this thing like a god?
yeah, exactly. Or there was talk about like using a spoon as a
God,
as
that
a
would be so
dangerous weapon,
cool.
like fucking. Yeah, exactly. So I'm definitely imagining. I mean, this is the guy who's great in bar fights, but I think it'd be fun as a DM as well, because then you've got the player who's always asking, "All right, what's in the room?" You know.
Well,
and then you
this
sort of
is
get
just
to
my kind of
decide.
fighter because it's the anime character fighter.
Yeah, for sure. And so I love. Don't get me wrong, I love the flavor here, but it is just another. All right, well, let's make the monk, but better. Class.
Hey, here's another reason not to play monk. My favorite, like one of my favorite classes. Probably my favorite class.
Exactly. So other shit they get grappling expert. So when you make I guess it doesn't even specify that you have to attack, but you can either shove or grapple as a bonus action. And then at the start of your turns, you deal a d6 of damage to creatures grappled by you. At 10th level, you get advantage on attack rolls on creatures grappled by you. Just taking all those features from the grappler feat and putting it in here. Let's see, you get improvised specialist. So you can add your proficiency bonus to the damage you do with improvised weapons, which is cool. And then your two-handed improvised weapons gets a D12 for the damage die. Again, I just wish they'd specify earlier how much damage these things do. And then let's see, at 18th level, your unarmed strikes all improve to a D8, and then they become a D10 if you're not wielding a shield or any weapons. So I do think they probably, and I'm forgetting the previous version of the monk that we saw, but I believe they are getting that D10 unarmed strike slightly later, so maybe that's a slight edge for the monk there.
Yeah, the hit die just doesn't matter. What matters
cool.
is the modifier afterwards.
Right,
like how much
exactly.
you're adding to that roll, because you can still roll a 1 on both those die. The big thing is the max damage goes up by like 2.
For sure.
So,
yeah. Well, and you know, I will say at higher levels though, the monk does have their flurry of blows and as many key points as they could possibly want.
I still love monk to death. I think that I would love to see like an extra D4 of a type of damage added to a lot of their unarmed strikes and stuff, just to make them the masters of this type of combat. So for instance, my boy Schmidt always does an extra D4 of radiant damage whenever he hits. I just love that as a feature.
In Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, like I love that feature. I wish, or honestly, I might for some monks and stuff in the future, if that's not like an official thing, like have some cool magic items and stuff like that, because I'm like, oh, this is how the monk is fun to play, as opposed to like all monks feel kind of the same in generic 5e right now. They feel very, very similar to one another because those base abilities are the things you're going to be using all the time. At least here, you can be the expert in that. So, but as for this brawler thing, I've never seen an unarmed fighter, and I'm down to have one involved. I just want more people to play monk too.
Yeah, for sure. And I am, I'm still excited about the monk that they gave us last time, right? They had some cool options, especially the, I believe the way of the 4 elements, or whatever they called it, like warrior of elements. That was cool too. But in any case, we'll see. Again, I really feel like this does belong on the Barbarian though. And I wish that they at least had a way for the Barbarian to get some good unarmed options too. So I love what this subclass is doing, but I don't love that it's sort of necessitating 3 levels in fighter if you want to be this brawler type of character on a different class. But in any case, that's super cool. Sorcerer had some changes. Wizard had some changes. Warlock had some changes. What would you like to talk about?
So I've got like 2 things I want to cover before we end this out because it has been over an hour already.
Yep.
But biggest thing I want to talk about is my boy Counterspell. Getting changed up to where the creature makes a save against it as opposed to the person rolling to counter the spell. Because let's be honest, a 19 is very easy to get past a certain point. So like 19 for this spell that could change the course of like whatever you're doing. Very, very easy to roll, especially when you have a divination wizard and everybody who can cast silvery barbs.
Right, and there are also plenty of class features that allow you to enhance ability checks, right? So you could have your artificer use Flash of Genius, for example, and give you up to a +5 on that check.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult.
Obviously, Bardic Inspiration
as the
in
DM
general. Yeah, it's hard to cast a spell that's good when you have more than one caster there with their reaction ready to go. So yeah, it was very nice for me to see like, oh, cool. So maybe in this case, you know, the Lord of all 9 hells won't fail a thing, right?
Yeah,
like won't fail to cast a spell against this human. So I do like that as a change. And then also there are still the odds that it could happen. I could still roll low enough to where it's like, oh shit, okay, yep, that works.
Yeah, you know, your divination wizard portents to a nat 1. All right, well, it succeeds.
Yeah,
you know, that shit can still happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a big fan of the change to counterspell because in weaker levels it'll still work most of the time, and then in higher levels it'll be a little less likely to work, but it won't be a perfect solve to every scenario. Like the second you run into a caster, okay, save your reactions. We're just going to counterspell every time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I am a very big fan of that. God, there was one other change I felt like I needed to talk about when it came to casters.
Was it the jump spell?
No, it wasn't the jump spell. What changed about that?
Yeah, so they updated the jump spell, so that now it's kind of useful. So in the previous version, it just wasn't clear how it worked with the rules, because you triple your jump distance, but it doesn't increase your movement at all, and so you can still only jump up to your movement, which means the jump spell was basically useless before. So the way that they've enhanced it is now it's a bonus action to cast. It lasts only 1 minute, which I believe before it lasted like 10 minutes. And now when you cast it, a creature can jump up to 30 feet by only spending 10 feet of their movement. And so what that means is that you could, and it's only once per turn, but you can basically grant an extra 20 feet of movement on the creature's turn, and you know they can use that as a part of the jump.
Yeah.
So it makes the jump spell seem a little bit more worthwhile. It's sort of like a now there's a trade-off between it and Longstrider, right? Because Longstrider was usually the better option because it actually gives you extra movement before, but now the jump spell actually gives you a little bit more movement, but it lasts only for a minute. So now I feel like that's an appropriate trade-off there. I like it.
Yeah,
not super huge news.
The crazy thing is this not being a video game, like the way we play D&D, I've never seen a movement-based spell that's not a teleport come in handy.
That's fair.
Like, I don't think we've ever cast that. The only thing that has helped, Zephyr Strike has been cool, but that also grants you advantage on your attack on your next attack. Yeah. And then also, it grants you like a freedom of movement for a short period of time, right? So...
Yeah, so your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks.
Yeah.
You get advantage on your next attack, and that next attack also does an extra D8. So
yeah,
so that's
beautiful
great.
First level spell, one of my favorites. And so that's awesome. But yeah, anything like Jump or Longstrider, we've played a lot of D&D, and I've never seen anyone use it. It's great in a video game, love it in Baldur's Gate. But yeah, here it's not not all. It's not one of those spells that matters to me in a scenario where we don't have 3D environment set up in front of us.
Right. I mean, I will say movement has come in handy on occasion, but it's rare. Like I do recall there was one session where I was playing a monk. I believe it was a one-off that Sean had put together. Yeah. And so we were in this combat where we were fighting these drow in the jungle, and they had like these tree houses. So he set up like this awesome vertical environment for us to fight in. And so I was monk running up the trees, and then I think I was even playing the like a homebrew revised Way of the Four Elements. So I had this ability that sort of let me glide around for a little bit. So I'd like jump from one tree to the next, not provoking attacks of opportunity and shit.
Yeah, I remember
so that was a lot of fun.
Did Sean run that, or did I run that?
That was Sean.
Okay,
because that was the start of his whole
crossbreed
dragon
I played
thing.
in that. Okay, cool. Yeah, no,
yeah, but
I remember it.
Yeah, in any case, to your point, yeah, it's the jump spell is probably still not going to come up in our adventures, but it might. And I think Baldur's Gate 3 really is sort of like a challenge to DMs to up your interesting combat environment game.
Well, yeah,
that really does come into play.
I just think there's a big difference between regular D&D and that, because the way we end up doing encounters in D&D is far different than I feel like encounters end up going in Baldur's Gate 3. I think maybe we probably do a whole episode on tips between like the differences and things you can implement and things you can't. But bottom line for me, as Baldur's Gate 3 is a video game, I'm willing to make more risks with my characters because I can reload the save, or if they all die, it's going to make me load one anyways.
Yeah.
So I treat it like a turn-based combat game, while D&D, I am going to be much more careful with my character. They are precious to me. And it's a lot harder to it's a lot more imaginative than the set in stone world that Baldur's Gate 3 gives you, right?
Right.
So what?
Well, and all of those encounters that are set in Baldur's Gate 3, they've got all these interesting environments and different interactions that you can have going on in combat. But these are all, immaculately designed encounters that have been fleshed out over the course of 3 years of early access, or 2 years, or
6 years of development and 3 years of early access.
Yeah, so there's Baldur's Gate 3 has the benefit of fine-tuning every little detail of all of its encounters. If you're the DM running your encounters, like, all right, you might have some ideas of, okay, well, maybe we can do some verticality here or whatever, but that shit ain't play tested. Like, ultimately, you're throwing what you think might work.
And letting the players have fun with it. Like, I had a blast yesterday whenever I introduced the verticality when the wall got exploded out, and a player ended up falling the 40 feet. And likewise, a character did push an enemy out the wall, killing it with the hit, so it didn't matter, but they did push them outside with the intent of letting them fall and die.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
I mean, you can do that as a DM, but ultimately, if you're any kind of regular with the sessions that you're running, it takes a lot of work to come up with fun and interesting encounters.
Every table has such a drastically different style. I feel like our style is very different. Like, even just my style of setting up a game is different than yours. And then going further and further to, like, Drew will spend a whole year curating one-off for us to make sure it's perfect, while I will run every week without, like, at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, and I'm always so I guess that is the middle, right? Drew will only run very rarely, but they're super curated and very fun. And then I'll run whenever I feel like it. But also, I spend a lot of time curating my sessions to make sure they're interesting as well. And then we force you to do this shit constantly. So
no one forces me. If I wanted to quit, you'd all be like, okay.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, right? But you are the forever DM.
Yeah, like, so,
you're always coming up with interesting shit every week for us.
Yeah, I'm always super down for it, and it gives me the chance to, like, whenever I come up with an idea, well, I can implement that within the next few weeks. Like, I'm not like, ooh, I have this idea, and then it never comes to fruition. I can just do it.
Well, yeah, and that's my curse, right? I've got a ton of cool ideas for D&D stuff that I'm like, well, I'd really want to have, like, a whole campaign to lead up to that idea. And then I run a few sessions here and
Well,
there.
yeah, that's literally what I'm doing. We have this whole campaign leading up to the idea of, it would be cool if the enemy was Asmodeus.
Exactly.
And then we have stuff going on after that. Or honestly, we have this whole idea of the discovery of a plane beyond our own that's also coming into play right now. We're going.
Yeah. Well, and there's plenty of other shit that little pieces that I'm super interested to see how they coalesce in the final session. I mean, I know there are some secrets about Pyth that we still don't know that we may.
Yeah, we're about 5 sessions. He was actually texting me about that yesterday. He goes, "Hey, I have some questions about things that I do and don't know," and I was like, "Yeah, here you go." And so I gave it to him, and I was like, "Hey, don't." He gave me some concerns, and I was like, "No, don't worry. That everybody's gonna get their chance in the last session. Everyone's gonna get their chance."
Good.
But anyways, well, we have gone pretty long, so thank you so much for listening to Table Talk Friday, where we went over UA7, or at least the very, very surface of UA7. There's still a whole lot to unpack here, and I encourage you, if you're interested in more of it, go and check out the interview with Jeremy Crawford, where he kind of goes over their philosophies and stuff on it. Very excited for what's going to be happening here in the future and what we might see in these players' handbooks. I may say that I have complaints about it, but I guarantee you I'll read through it and probably own a copy. So, regardless, thank you guys so much for listening. You can find us on patreon.com/TableTalkFriday, where Good Old Gamer interacts with us every single week over there. Thank you, Good Old Gamer, for all your support. And other than that, can I please have the Super Brawler take me out?
Hey, mamma mia, it's me, the Super Brawler, brother. That's me, and I'm gonna scoop your eyes out with a spoon, and I'm gonna do it with proficiency because that's my whole thing. I'm just a mamma mia Super Brawler. So you better not mess with me. But if you don't, that's great because mamma mia. Pizza pie, it's gonna be all right because I'm a super brawler, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day. As long as you don't mess with me. If you mess with me, I'm gonna scoop your eyeball. Just remember that.